Each year, United Way of Greater Chattanooga awards grants to nonprofits that make a difference across our community. This year, volunteer grant reviewers have been more involved than ever, reading and scoring applications from local nonprofits before making recommendations to United Way's staff for the grants. Paulo, Hutson, Solorzano of Medida Communications and Ben Staples of CBL Properties are co-chairs of United Way's Community Investment Committee. Paulo, Ben, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, excited to be here. Thanks.
Tell us more about the direction for community investment now at United Way.
United Way is on a mission to unite people and resources, building a stronger, healthier community. And so the Community Investment Committee is a part of that mission and completing that. It's a really exciting time at United Way that the time has come that we have made these decisions and onboarded new partners and existing partners. And this is all the work that goes into fulfilling the mission.
When we think about the Community Investment Committee, this has been an ongoing process where we've been looking at how we do grant making. We want to make sure that we change to be more responsive to the needs of Chattanoogans. And so that's what's been going on. This process has been under review for quite a while, and we've really implemented to make sure that the resources that we have reach nonprofit agencies who are doing the most good in the community.
And talk about what's different in the how you and others are tackling this work. How it's different from previous years.
The rigor that we have really undertaken when looking at the grants that were presented, this has been a process that has been really funneled down, starting with getting new grant reviewers, individuals that would review the grants, score them on a rubric that we created. Then the United Way team poured over that information and brought it to us, the Community Investment Committee, where we took a hard look at each of the scores the reviewers presented. And then we talked about them. So it wasn't just the scores based off of how well a grant was written, but it was really how those scores, as well as the known community impact, we really took a look at that and made our decisions that way.
And this work was guided by data, local data. We focused on the needs of the community, immediate, short-term, and long-term. And we recently got a report, the ALICE report. And if you're not familiar with ALICE, it's asset limited, income constrained, and employed, which represents our neighbors, our coworkers all across the region. And so if you haven't heard of ALICE or seen that report, highly encourage to visit unitedwaycha.org to see that report, because it really is shocking to me. And it really puts things into perspective. For instance, in 2023, the cost of living for a family of 4 that has 2 children in childcare increased within 1 year by $8,200. And that makes up around 42,000 households in our area. And so when you have families that are struggling to make basic needs for their families and themselves, that's a huge issue. And then we take the data from the 211, and 211's a resource that United Way has for the community for basic needs and services. And we took the top calls that were coming in, and it was for food and housing insecurities. And so we didn't take this work lightly, and we knew that the time is now, what Ben was referring to, of kind of shifting the model and the funding opportunities to best suit the needs of our community. We had to take action now, and so we implemented this new model with 3 different funding opportunities that's guided by the needs in our community, short-term and long-term. And so the exciting part is that United Way is a convener and unites the community, but also the nonprofit sector. And so we are using a 2-generational approach, meaning that we are focusing on the child and ensuring that in early childhood development, that child has the opportunities to thrive, as well as the families and caregivers and parents and assessing their needs to really make a holistic approach and make sure the whole family is being supported. So with these 3 elements in mind, we're able to onboard partners that are able to do this work, that are either focused on basic urgent needs or children or families or older adults or parents, and really convene them together to really make that lasting impact to move Chattanooga forward.
Let's talk about 3 funds that these grants are flowing from that are part of this focus. The Impact Fund, offering multi-year investments to a cohort of nonprofits working on 2-generation solutions for the ALICE households, as we've discussed. There's also the Bridge Fund. Talk about that.
So the Bridge Fund is a one-year commitment, a one-time commitment for a year for urgent needs. Based on our 211 data, the top calls that were coming in were for food and housing. And so we onboarded partners that are addressing those urgent needs, because without those, that's part of our concern, is that if you're having housing insecurity or food insecurity, you can't worry long-term. And so having partners that are able to fulfill those gaps in families that are experiencing those hardships, basic needs, whether it's healthcare, whether it's food, whether it's housing, education, childcare, things of that sort, we recognize that that's urgent. And so there's organizations that are already doing this great work. And so we want to be able to support that and keep that going.
We say ALICE, and obviously we've put the acronym behind it. It's what we used to refer to as the working poor. These are individuals that are doing everything they can to stay above water. They are working one job, maybe two, and with all that hard work, sometimes it puts them above the federal poverty line. So they're not getting that assistance. And so that's why, again, what you just talked about, the Bridge Fund, why that's so important. These help individuals meet those basic needs that sometimes they just don't have. Sometimes they've had a flat tire. Sometimes they've had something happen, something break, and they don't have that safety net if that happens.
Right.
And I'll be honest with you, as someone that grew up with a single mother and lived that life where it was a decision whether to fix the AC or to buy food, I know that all too well. And too many people in our community do. When we talk about the Bridge Fund, that's huge.
These ALICE households are anyone, you know, it could be your neighbor, it could be the restaurant that you frequent often, it could be anybody. And so a lot of times we think of households that are ALICE households as a particular way, but this can happen to anyone. And like Ben was saying, you know, if you're one flat tire away, and if we can help alleviate some of that financial burden, that's what United Way is here to do.
Let's talk about another fund that's in the mix, the Catalyst Fund, supporting innovation, capacity building, and pilot projects.
The Catalyst Fund is another one-year program, and it looks to do what it says, right? It provides the catalyst, that spark, those dollars to allow organizations to try something unique, try something new, and see what happens, and see if we can take those small ideas and grow them into something larger. So if someone does the Catalyst Fund, we see some success, they may move into the impact cohort over the next few years. So it's just a way to fund some of these nonprofits that are trying something unique. And then how do we build off of that?
Reading these applications and the innovation that Chattanooga has and these nonprofits have, it's remarkable. I mean, that was one of the highlights for me, is really reading through some of these programs that have been proven but just need a little more help to be sustainable and maybe make some pivots here and there based on the needs of the community. But just to see anything from dentistry to programs to help parents with economic mobility and the innovation behind it was really awesome.
Innovation to meet people where they are.
Yeah.
And so I think it's huge.
Let's talk about the Impact Fund.
This is why I mentioned it's exciting time at United Way, because this has been in the works for years. And something I can't stress enough is how the work of United Way is community-led. For years, United Way has been working towards the Impact Cohort, which is a collective of organizations that are able to support the mission of United Way and the two-gen approach for ALICE families. And so this is a 3-year commitment, where these organizations that may be focused on child needs or older adult needs or youth, or however it fits into the two-gen approach, United Way is able to convene these groups of organizations to make the family whole. They work together in different capacities, and United Way provides tools and resources to help guide that work. So instead of being siloed in their genius of work that they do, it's now holistic, and it's now a synergy that exists between these organizations. And there's 19 organizations that are in this cohort for 3 years. I'm really excited to see what comes out of that.
You talked about Chattanooga being so innovative. Chattanooga is also very giving.
Yep.
As part of this community investment committee, we were able to give $3.4 million to a total of 55 organizations this year, 10 of which were new. That's only because of what the people of Chattanooga have decided to do to and have decided to support their neighbors, their friends, and it's just an amazing thing.
And for people to learn more about it, for people who want to support it, where can they go online? How can they connect with United Way?
That's the beautiful thing of United Way. Whatever capacity you're able, there's something for you to get involved at United Way, whether it's giving, volunteering, being an advisory committee, or part of the community investment committee. So visit unitedwaycha.org. There's various opportunities that you can see there, the impact of our community, because as I mentioned, this is community-led from different groups of corporate organizations, nonprofit individuals, families. That's the beauty of United Way, is the ability that it's able to integrate anyone into this work, regardless of capacity.
One thing that I do want to also say is you don't have to be from Chattanooga to be a part of this. Neither Paulo or myself, we're not native Chattanoogans, but this is our home now. And if you want to get involved, the United Way wants you to be a part of it.
One last thing, Ray, a huge kudos to the United Way team and the volunteers. There was over 100 hours put into this work through reviewing applications and meeting and inviting other people to assess the reviews, interviews, and that's over 100 hours. We had 63 grant reviewers that volunteered their time to go through every single detail, and we had 6 financial reviewers as well. And so by the time this met our committee, there was a lot of data behind it that really helped us make these decisions. That was not easy to make because we had several applications that perhaps didn't align as best with our intent. But the work behind this and the United Way team and volunteers, I mean, that's the power of community, and that's the power of when we get together and unite different people from different sectors and walks of life, we can really make that impact.
All right. Paulo, Ben, thanks so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.